Thank you.
Just your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.
He followed Steve Dunstan all the way to Benin. You've been watching him in the video. Dr. Charles Omorodion, please come and take it. In fact, he fought with the Nigerian Embassy. He's been known to kick tables with the embassy. Steve Dunstan will confirm that. Dr. Omorodion, please. All together to Brussels.
Your Royal Highnesses, Princess Pakman Erediawa and Princess Teresa Erediawa, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I stand on existing protocol. My name is Dr. Charles Omorodion. Just to give you a little bit of my background, sometimes I get very passionate when it comes to Benin issues. My dad told me that we are descendants of Oba Sonye, who ruled the Benin Kingdom in 1735 to 1750. That's where my passion started from. Now, I'm here now to tell you a little bit of history as to how the Benin bronzes were returned back to Benin. I was at home one Sunday when a friend of mine called me, Dr. Samuel Egaira, and he asked me how I felt about a program that just came on Benin television. I told him I have not seen that program. And he said he saw Steve Dunstan and Team Awoyemi on Benin television narrating their experience trying to contact the Oba of Benin. I immediately called Alistair, who was the CEO of Benin television, and wanted to know the producer of that particular film, or that particular program. I was put through to the producer of that program, and I wanted to get through to Steve Dunstan. I said, well, I've been told that Steve Dunstan and Team Awoyemi were here on your television program, and they said they have this artifact, and I wanted to get in touch with them. As at that time, I was speaking in the capacity of the president of Edo Union, Edo National Association here in the United Kingdom, and also a member of your John Way Council. And he refused to give me the telephone number for protocol and other reasons, confidentiality. But after persisting, he did promise that the program was going to be repeated the next Sunday. So the following Sunday, I sat glued to my television program. I saw Steve came up on the television with his box and a little bit of diary explaining how they came about the artifacts and they wanted to return the artifacts back to Benin. What struck me was the fact that for 2 years, they tried to contact Oba of Benin. They wrote letters. They never got any response. And so the program ended, and I started thinking of how to reach Steve. I did a search on Google, and at those days I think there was also search on Yahoo. Yahoo was the search engine in those days. I came across Steve, but it wasn't under his name, it was under a security firm. So I went on Company's House website, and I was able to track down his company, but they didn't have telephone numbers because no telephone numbers are displayed on the Company's House website. So I phoned 118, and 118 was able to give me a telephone number, and I called. Unfortunately, he wasn't at home. I think a lady picked it up. I presume that was his wife, and I left my number. The next evening, he called me, and we started chatting. I said, I heard that you've got this artifact, say yes, and you've been trying to reach the palace. I said, well, are they genuine? He said, yes, they're genuine. I said, well, if they're genuine, I can guarantee you access to the palace. Oh, he said, wonderful. Then I then put a call through to John Way Council. We called an emergency meeting of all the council members So there's a new development. Somebody has come up to say that they've got this artifact that they want to return home. We decided to call a meeting of the Beninese, and we arranged that meeting at Bronze Restaurant. While we were doing that, myself and Dr. Igarima met in my office. We wanted to make this big, because when we spoke to Steve, the thing that was coming out was, look, Charles, I want to return these artifacts with Mark Walker, and I want this to open the floodgates so that other artifacts can be returned back to Benin as well. I said, don't worry, we'll do our best. I had a few contacts in Nigeria High Commission. I think our contact then was Ebun Ojekere. Yes. And I contacted her and said, we need to get through to the High Commission. Can you fix a meeting for us urgently? We don't have to go through the protocol, but this is very urgent. I briefed her of what we're trying to do. She said, well, consider it done. So she went ahead, fixed a meeting. We spoke to the High Commissioner. They wanted us to make it official. We wrote a letter to the High Commissioner. And the High Commission then agreed that they would send delegates to our meeting. They sent 2 ministers. One was the Minister for Trade and Investment. The other was Minister for Culture and Plenipotentiary. So we had a meeting at Bronze Restaurant. In that meeting, before then, we were communicating with His Royal Highness, blessed memory, Prince Edwin Akenzua, who was our link to Oba Erediawa at the time. And he assured us that he couldn't come, but we should contact the daughter, Vivian Akenzua, and Vivian will represent him at Bronze Restaurant. So we met at Bronze Restaurant. Chief Dustin brought the bronzes, and he also brought this diary. That was the most fascinating part of the story. The diary was written back in 1897 in the original text by Mark Walker's grandfather. And the diary was so meticulously written, detailing how the bronzes were carted away from Benin. And they actually used the word looted several times in that particular diary. Then Steve then said to us, look, I'm not just returning these artifacts back, I also want to return this diary back to the Royal Majesty. But he wanted to return a replica of that diary written in the same technology that it was written in 1897. So we put our heads together with a John Way Council, led by a power engineer Uwogien, and eminent personality like Pastor Ibude, Dr. David Obaze, and other people. If I don't mention your name, very important dignitaries. We put money together, about £5,000, and we were able to, but we actually paid about 3,000 something pounds, and we were able to replicate this diary and made 2 copies of it, which we then returned back to Benin. The story just got, let me just finish. The story just got a little bit exciting, in the sense that while we were preparing to return these things back, I got a phone call one day from Steve. No, let me backtrack a little bit. After we met at the Bronze Restaurant, and we then wrote a letter to the High Commission to thank them for sending the ministers to come and represent them at our meeting. And we also wanted to pay a courtesy call to the High Commissioner. Myself, Steve, Mark Walker, team, and other people, about 10 of us. I think there's a book that was captured in one of the newspaper that I brought today, was Nigeria Watch, and we went to see the High Commissioner. And we explained to the High Commissioner what we're trying to do. They were very excited, because this was the first time they were coming across something of this sort. Previously, they usually invited to parties and all the rest of it, but they said this is unique. At that meeting, the High Commissioner promised to pay the ticket for Chief Steve Dustin, Team Awoyemi, and Mark Walker. But they said to us, you the Beninese that are going, you have to look after yourself, we won't pay your ticket. We said, well, we're happy with that. A week later, I got a distress call from a very good friend, Steve. Said, Charles, there's been a development. I'm not happy about it. Mark is not happy about it. I said, what happened? So we were called to the High Commissioner a couple of days ago, and we were told that things have changed. The artifacts are no longer going to Benin. they're now going to Abuja. The director of the Museum and Monument of Nigeria came, when he heard about this, flew to London, instruct them that on no condition must they return these artifacts to Benin. In his views, Benin as an entity no longer exists. It was now part of Nigeria. So as such, the artifacts should be returned back to Abuja. And I think there was another appointment for them to go and see the High Commissioner to collect their ticket. And he told me, he said, well, this is supposed to be confidential, but I'm letting you know in on this. I said, fair enough. I contacted a few people. They were surprised to see us at the High Commission. They were only expecting 3 people. A dozen of us were there at the High Commission. So the usher was in, and that meeting was heated up. I'm a very quiet person, but on that occasion, I lost my cool. I started banging the table, and I told them that they disappointed us, that we came to them because of the respect that we had for them. They tried to usurp the situation and return these artifacts back to Abuja. He looked at me and said, well, is your father the king? I said, well, if you say my father is the king, that's correct. Because Oba of Benin is the father of all Benins. So if you say that, yes, actually my father. Then he now, after heated debate, he said, well, you know what? If you insist that this artifact is going to Oba of Benin, we're going to withdraw the ticket that were originally promised these 3 people. And so they withdrew the ticket, we put a message straight to Prince Arjuna Kenzua, and the ticket was arranged within 3 days for Steve Justin and other people to return the bronzes. I don't want to hold you too much in this particular literal narrative, but suffice it to say that I'm very proud of you, Les, for what you've done. A lot of us have swept these stories under the carpet, but today you brought it live. And also, yes, please, I'll give way.
Charles, you mentioned the diary.
Yes.
It was a wonderful, wonderful replica, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
The man who produced that is here tonight.
Oh, is it?
Richard.
Thank you very much. It is not too much to ask. On behalf of the OEA Council and the Benin Union of United Kingdom, we would like to place maybe request for 2 additional diaries to be made for us, because those of us here, we don't have that diary, and we're willing to pay for it. If that is okay.
Well, Charles, I'm currently working on a project, reproducing the diary, using the old techniques, but using AI to enhance all those 85 images and colour them. There was one example handed around earlier. It really does bring that to life.
We'd like to make contributions to that.
Thank you.
Well, having said what I came here to say, again, on behalf of everyone here, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share my story with you. Thank you.